us the unhappiness of separation, of not being with the people whom we wish to be with or whom we love. So in the same way, our actions that are motivated by self-cherishing cause us the suffering of the opposite nature. So in this way we can see that it is by thinking of ourselves alone and our wish to satisfy our own desires that we cause all the suffering that we experience. It is by refraining from or by not engaging in actions that are for the sake of others that we. It is by acting in this selfish, self-cherishing way rather than acting in a selfless way that is the root of all the unhappiness that we experience. If we, out of a concern for others, if we act generously, that becomes the cause of our being wealthy, of our possessing many things. It is as a result of my engaging in generosity in past lives that now someone has given me a mango juice and has given me this fruit. So, Nikki did not engage. Engaging in so if one by abstaining from by ceasing harming of others, that is what causes one to be reborn as a human being. If one wants a healthy, good body, one has to engage in patience. So, when we talk about Bodhisattvas as being very holy, very special beings, it is because they engage in actions to help others, because they are devoted to others. That is what makes them special. So, taking Shakyamuni Buddha, for example, it is because of his devotion to others, because of his having devoted himself to benefiting others, that he worked for 3 incalculable eons and collected an enormous amount of merit in order to attain Buddhahood. That was all out with the motivation of wishing to benefit others. That is what makes Shakyamuni Buddha special and holy. And I'm sorry, I forgot one thing from the last. It's not that Shakyamuni Buddha was a Buddha from the start. At first he was like us, but as a result of his practice he attained the state of full enlightenment. In a similar manner, if we engage in the in effort to diminish and abandon all self-cherishing actions and develop all selfless actions, we, in a similar way, will attain that state of full enlightenment. So here we all are tonight together, and if any of you, whoever among you, devote yourselves to really developing this selfless action, this life devoted to others rather than oneself, then it is very possible that you will attain enlightenment before I do. And once you've attained Buddhahood, please teach. So here we are. I'm teaching you the Dharma sitting here. There is no way of being. I couldn't possibly say that among you there weren't bodhisattvas who have already developed bodhicitta, or that among you there aren't fully enlightened Buddhas. There is a definite possibility that among you there could be fully enlightened Buddhas. So, looking, it's not that one is able to establish that someone is or is not a bodhisattva simply by looking at them. It's like one says that it's sort of like dust on top of a flame.
Jim?
So this is on top of a flower? So dust on top of a flower. 14? Or 13. So that was verse number what one has to do is contemplate the benefits of selfless behavior and the faults of selfish behavior. The meditation that we engage in should be to really familiarize ourselves, be able to recognize the negative aspects of self-cherishing and the positive, virtuous aspects of cherishing others. So basically, we should see that our wishing that our own needs, our own cherishing is satisfied by our helping others in their, by our selfless thoughts, by our, by the opposite of regular selfish behavior. So now this is not something that will happen quickly or immediately. It's something that will come as a result of practice. We have to really engage in meditation and practice that cultivates this. For example, the ability to give one's body away. There's the story of the Buddha in a life before his attainment of Buddhahood, who gave his body to a hungry tigress. That act of generosity to help the tigress is something that he was able to arrive at, or able to do as a result of practice, as a result of cultivating generosity in practice. So this hungry tigress, the Buddha in his life before attaining Buddhahood, saved or helped, was the story is that this tigress had many cubs, and the tigress was very hungry, and out of her hunger she was going to eat her cubs. And the Buddha saw this, and realizing this, developed this compassion for the tigress, because the tigress, were she to eat her cubs, that would be such a non-virtuous action that the tigress would experience enormous amount of suffering as a result of that. And so out of compassion for the tigress, who was going to cause herself such suffering, the Buddha offered his own body, let the tigress eat him, so that, and thereby save the cubs. So how does such a Bodhisattva arrive at the ability to actually give his own flesh in order to save someone else from the suffering that they would experience as a result of non-virtuous action? It is by contemplating the benefits of selfless behavior and the negative aspects of selfish behavior, self-cherishing. It is by that analytical meditation that one can eventually get to the point of giving one's own body in such a situation. So, though we don't have the ability to offer our flesh to a hungry tigress in that way, we do have the ability to contemplate others who are suffering and develop the strong prayer, wish, aspiration that we may be able to take upon ourselves their suffering and provide them with happiness. We would think of all of our virtue as accumulated merit, and we offer it to them so that it will get rid of their suffering. It will be a way of removing their suffering, and then we take upon ourselves. We think of taking away from their sufferings. So now verse number 14. Here we're thinking about offering and taking. If someone were to steal from us, what's important is that we develop, we not let ourselves engage in any kind of anger, that we not react with anger in such a situation. So here, even if someone out of intense desire steals all my wealth or makes another do so, to dedicate body, possessions, all virtue, 3 realms to them is the practice of Bodhisattva. Now actually, the author of this text, Thogme Sampo, there is a story which is contained in this commentary on the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva about Thogme Sampo himself, whose home was broken into by thieves and who stole. And as they were escaping with whatever they had been able to get, he called after them and said, wait, I wish that you be able to get hold of even more. And now go quickly because my friends will catch you and that will cause you to suffer. So he helped them escape after having developed the wish that they'd be able to do away with even more. So we should, the Bodhisattva works at developing an attitude or a feeling, developing an awareness of the suffering that others are experiencing to a point where tears will come to his or her eyes as he or she contemplates the suffering that beings in insignificant existence are experiencing. So there was in Tibet, in some little hamlet, there was a local meditator who lived in retreat, and he would go, and there was a little brook that he would go and sit outside and do certain of his recitations there, and he would contemplate the sufferings and seeking existence. And as he was contemplating suffering, tears would come to his eyes, and there was a local butcher who would come and sort of joke that they would come and look at this man in whose eyes tears would appear. However, even as children, we would think about the suffering. We would try to cultivate an awareness of the suffering that was going to be experienced by animals that were going to be butchered, and work towards having such a feeling that tears would come to one's eyes. This is the animal, and so we would, as we were meditating, as we were contemplating the sufferings that we'd be experiencing, tears would come to our eyes, and we would find that our hands were going like this. And sometimes someone would fart, and then we would all laugh. So sometimes we would joke. So if we could really, so even as children, we would do like this. So the point is to really cultivate an awareness of the suffering of others. And as we become more aware of the suffering of others, this makes our own non-virtue, it diminishes our non-virtue, our thing. So as we contemplate the sufferings of others, we eventually, this should lead us to a strong wish and determination to bring about an ending to that suffering, to have it end altogether. And if we contemplate how we could actually apply that, how we could actually bring an ending to all suffering, it would be by attaining a state where we could provide the teachings leading to full enlightenment, the Mahayana teachings. And so a recognition of this would lead us to the determination to develop the ability to teach the Mahayana perfectly. And this is the spirit of enlightenment that we work at cultivating. So here, so this 15, it's not that it's likely to happen, but if someone said in my head, even though I did not feel the slightest wrong, through the power of compassion to take on their misdeeds for themselves with the practice of Bodhisattva. So the point is that we wish to, we do not retaliate with anger, we develop patience, and we wish, and we develop compassion, wishing that they not suffer, and we develop this wish to remove their suffering. So, if a Bodhisattva were to be confronted by someone who wished to kill him or her, the Bodhisattva would not have anger towards this person, but on the contrary would feel compassion, recognizing that this person's actions would lead this person to an enormous amount of suffering in future lives. And so out of that compassion, the Bodhisattva would wish to remove that suffering, and so that is the spirit with which the Bodhisattva would experience the situation of having someone want to kill him. So for us, such a reaction would be difficult, but we can pray that we may eventually be able to develop this attitude. So, though there may not be great danger that we find ourselves in a situation where someone might want to kill us in this way, however, there are situations where bugs want to just bite us or something like that, and so we should apply the same attitude in those situations. So, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, it is said, engages in some meditation practice related to this, where he will remove his shirt and go someplace where there are a lot of mosquitoes and offer his body to the mosquitoes spend a few hours there, letting them sting him and suck his blood. So I don't know how many hours he does this for, but it is said that he has done this. So it seems that many years ago, Tatsel Rinpoche, the elder brother of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who lived in America, went to India and had a meal with His Holiness. And while they were having dinner or lunch, whatever it was, there was a mosquito that was on Tatsel Rinpoche, and Tatsel Rinpoche kept trying to kill it. And His Holiness said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, this mosquito is trying to bite me. I'm trying to kill it." And His Holiness said, "We have to eat. They have to eat." So the suffering that we experience from a mosquito bite is a very small bite. So we should work at abandoning our instinct to kill. We work at it in respect to these small sentient beings. Yeah. So, for example, fishing, going fishing. So, some people go fishing to kill, and then some people go fishing just for the sport of it. So, abandoning these things is important. So if you go, now of course, if you have to fish in order to feed yourselves, that's a little bit different. But just to go fishing for the sport of it is really something that we are able to abandon. So, abandoning killing, abandoning stealing and lying, and abandoning causing harm to others, these are things that we really can work on. So, I'm sitting here talking about how to abandon non-virtuous actions and develop virtuous actions. I don't want you to think that I have abandoned these things. I'm just telling you what's in the book. So we'll stop here, and so we now engage in drinking the mango juice.